Hey, are you ready to make some music? You sent in some really cool stuff about music production, and I'm so excited to dive into it with our expert.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah, I feel like we're going on like a sonic adventure from that first spark.
Is a journey.
Yeah,
From that first spark of inspiration to a finished track.
totally. And you know what's so cool about it is that even if you're not a musician, like even if you don't play anything, understanding how music is made can really help you appreciate the music you love even more.
Absolutely. One of the articles you sent from Waves Audio breaks down music production into like these 6 key stages.
Mm-hmm.
And they start by saying that the only rule is there are no rules, which I love.
Right.
Like
Yeah, it's very freeing.
it is. But then they're like, hold on, you still want to make good music.
Yeah.
So what's the balance there?
Well, I always say it's like having a superpower, but knowing how to use it responsibly.
Right.
Yeah.
You have all these tools and techniques at your disposal,
Mhm.
but ultimately you want to create something that resonates emotionally and technically.
Yeah.
Think about a chef
Okay.
who knows how to use all these exotic spices.
Right.
They don't just dump them all in at once,
Right.
right? They use them strategically to create a balanced and delicious dish.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's break down these stages.
Okay.
Stage 1 is songwriting.
Yeah.
And I love how the article emphasizes that it's about so much more than just the lyrics.
Oh, absolutely. It's about crafting a world with sound.
Okay.
You've got your melody, you've got harmony, you've got rhythm, you've got structure, even if there are no words.
Mm.
A good songwriter is using all of these elements to tell a story or to paint a picture or to evoke a very specific emotion.
Yeah, and you sent in this great article that talks about Prosody,
Yes.
which I feel like is something I hadn't really thought about before. It's like, how do the lyrics flow with the music?
Right. Prosody is all about the marriage of words and music.
Oh.
A skilled songwriter understands how to emphasize certain syllables or make the rhythm of the words kind of dance with the melody and really create a flow that enhances the meaning of the lyrics.
Yeah, like a rapper.
Absolutely.
Sometimes how they'll stretch words or shorten words
To
to fit the beat.
Exactly. They're sculpting the words
Yeah.
to fit that music.
Yeah.
And when prosody is done well, it's almost invisible.
Right.
It just feels natural and effortless.
Well.
But when it's off, it can be really jarring to the ear.
Totally. I'm thinking of examples in my head.
Oh, sure.
The article also talked about how a good song should take us on a familiar path littered with surprises.
I love that.
I love that too.
Yeah.
Repetition to make it catchy,
Right.
but unexpected twists to keep us hooked.
Exactly. That's what keeps us engaged as listeners.
Yeah.
Think about some of your favorite songs.
Okay.
They often have that predictable verse-chorus structure, but maybe they'll introduce a bridge
Right.
or instrumental break to shake things up a little bit.
Yeah.
Keeps us on our toes.
Okay, stage 2 is arranging.
Yes.
And this is where I get really excited.
Me too.
The article calls Arranging the Unsung Hero,
It is.
and I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. It's the secret sauce.
Yeah.
Arranging is like deciding which characters get the spotlight in each scene of your song.
Okay.
Right. You wouldn't have everybody shouting their lines at the same time.
That'd be a mess.
Right. Exactly. You want to create a dynamic journey for the listener by building tension and release.
They gave a great example in the article.
Yeah.
Like you might start a song with just a guitar and vocals,
Right.
then gradually add in bass and drums and synths and harmonies as the song builds to a climax.
Yeah, you're slowly adding those layers to create that excitement. It's like a build.
And they emphasized how even subtle changes
Yeah?
can make a huge difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like think about panning.
Okay.
It's like placing instruments on an imaginary stage.
Okay.
Some to the left, some to the right. This creates a wider soundscape and makes the music feel much more immersive.
I see.
Even just slightly adjusting the volume of certain instruments at different points in the song can dramatically change the feeling.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So next up is tracking.
Okay.
And this is where we shift from like the creative world of writing and arranging
Yeah.
to capturing the actual performance.
Right. It's like the difference between writing a screenplay and filming a movie.
Okay.
Songwriting is about exploring ideas and kind of being really free with it,
Yeah.
but tracking demands focus and precision and the ability to kind of translate that creative vision into a tangible performance.
The article had this fantastic line every time you push record. Give the performance of your life and think about nothing else.
That's it.
It's about being totally present in the moment, which I feel like I would mess that up.
I mean, it takes practice.
You'd be too worried about hitting the wrong note.
But that's the point. You want to capture that raw energy and emotion. those subtle inflections that make a performance feel truly alive.
Yeah, speaking of capturing the magic, even with all the amazing editing tools we have today, the article really stresses the importance of getting a great performance from the start.
Well, because you can't edit in soul.
Oh,
You can fix technical mistakes,
right.
but the heart of the performance needs to be there from the get-go.
Okay.
It's like the difference between a photograph that's been heavily retouched
Yeah,
and one that captures a genuine moment.
I got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so stage 4 is editing.
All right.
And the motto here is do no harm.
Exactly. Editing should be used to polish and enhance a performance,
Right.
not to create something that's artificial or overly perfect.
Yeah.
It's like a sculptor refining a statue.
Okay.
They're chipping away the imperfections to reveal the beauty within.
Why is it still so important to prioritize that raw, authentic performance, even with all the editing tricks available these days?
I think because music is about communicating emotion.
Okay.
You can edit out a wrong note, but you can't edit in the feeling, the passion, the human connection that makes a performance truly special.
So it's about finding that sweet spot
Yeah,
between technical precision
exactly.
and preserving the heart of the performance.
A skilled audio engineer knows how to use those editing tools to elevate the performance without losing its authenticity.
All right, on to stage 5, mixing.
Okay,
This is where it feels like the music really starts to come alive.
this is where it gets fun.
Yeah.
Mixing is like being a chef who's taking all of these raw ingredients, the vocals, the instruments, the sound effects, and blending them together into a delicious sonic meal.
Okay.
You're adjusting levels, you're adding spices, making sure everything complements each other.
The article talks about clarity,
Yeah,
depth motion supporting the song's intention.
it's all part of it.
What do you think is like the most crucial part of a good mix?
For me, I think it's clarity.
Okay.
If the listener can't hear each instrument clearly and understand its role in the arrangement, the whole thing falls apart. It becomes noise instead of a conversation between the instruments.
So it's like each instrument needs its own space to shine,
Exactly.
but it also needs to work together as a whole.
It's a delicate dance. A good mix engineer understands the nuances of each instrument, how to make them all sit together in the mix, and how to use effect to shape their sound and create a dynamic listening experience.
The article also emphasized that mixing is a deep
Oh, yeah,
rabbit hole.
it is.
Like you could spend your whole life mastering this one stage.
It's true. And that's what makes it so fascinating. There's always something new to learn a new technique,
Yeah.
to try a new way to kind of push the boundaries of sound. It's a never-ending journey of discovery.
And finally, stage 6, mastering.
The final step.
This is where we put the final touches on our sonic masterpiece.
Exactly. Mastering is the bridge between the studio and the listener's ear.
Okay,
It makes sure that the music translates well across different playback systems,
got it.
from, earbuds to massive sound systems.
The article talked about how mastering used to be
Oh,
a
yeah.
very separate step,
It was a whole different thing.
especially for albums.
Yeah, back in the day, you'd have a dedicated mastering engineer who would take mixes from different studios
Yeah.
and make them all sound like they belong together on a cohesive album.
Interesting.
They would fine-tune the overall tone, the balance, and the loudness to create a seamless listening experience.
But these days, it seems like mastering is becoming more integrated
Yeah.
with the mixing process.
Definitely it is,
Yeah.
especially for independent artists
Yeah.
who might not have the budget to hire a separate mastering engineer.
Yeah.
Mixing and mastering plugins have become incredibly powerful, allowing producers to achieve really professional sounding results in their home studios.
So it's accessible now,
It is.
but it's still a specialized skill.
Oh, absolutely. Mastering requires a deep understanding of sonic aesthetics, how our ears perceive sound, and the technical limitations of different audio formats. A skilled mastering engineer can make a mix sound louder, clearer, and more impactful, while still preserving its dynamic range and musicality.
So we've journeyed through all 6 stages of music production.
He did it.
Songwriting, arranging, tracking, editing, mixing, and mastering.
The whole shebang.
It's mind-blowing how much work goes into something that we might listen to in just a few minutes.
I know, it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It really highlights the power of human creativity
Yeah.
and that intricate dance between art and technology.
Yeah.
And what's amazing is that even if you're not a musician or a producer, Understanding these stages can unlock a whole new level of appreciation for the music you love.
Right. You start to hear all these subtle
They
details
do
that you
it.
might have missed before.
Totally.
You begin to understand the choices that the artist and producer made, and it gives you a deeper connection to the music.
Absolutely. It's like being able to read the language of music.
Yeah.
You can appreciate the nuances of the performance, the cleverness of the arrangement, the way the mix brings everything together.
Okay, so before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I have to ask you something that's been bugging me ever since we started talking about capturing that raw human performance.
Okay.
This whole AI music thing
Yeah.
is pretty wild,
It's a big one.
and I'm torn.
Yeah.
Part of me is blown away by it.
Of course.
Part of me thinks it'll never capture the real deal.
Right.
What are your thoughts?
I think that's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
Can AI truly replicate the human experience and translate it into music that moves us on a soul level?
Yeah, it's more than just technical skill.
Right.
It's about that intangible something
Exactly.
that makes music feel so powerful and relatable.
And I think that's something that we'll have to keep exploring as AI gets more and more sophisticated.
Yeah,
It's a fascinating question
it is.
with huge implications for the future of music.
Yeah. Well, on that note, we've reached the end of part 1 of our music production adventure. We'll be back soon to continue this conversation, so make sure you tune in. Welcome back. I'm still kind of buzzing from our last conversation about AI and music.
Yeah.
Is my Spotify playlist going to be all robots soon?
It's a question a lot of people are asking.
Yeah.
And honestly, the lines are getting blurrier and blurrier all the time between human and AI music.
Right, we've got AI tools that can write melodies and harmonies, even like whole song structures.
It's crazy.
There are platforms where you can basically like jam with an AI bandmate.
It's amazing that technology is advancing at such an incredible pace.
It is.
But I think for me, the key question is, can AI capture those intangible elements that make human music so captivating?
Okay.
The raw emotion, the vulnerability, the imperfection.
Right, like that moment when a singer cracks on a high note and it just makes the song even more powerful.
Yes.
Can a machine ever do that?
I think it's that difference between a technically perfect performance and one that truly connects on a soul level.
Yeah.
AI can create music that's technically brilliant, but oftentimes it lacks that depth of feeling and experience that gives human music its weight.
So maybe it's not about AI replacing humans,
Right.
but about finding new ways
Yeah.
to collaborate
Exactly.
and push the boundaries of
Yeah.
what's possible.
It's a new tool.
Yeah, like a human-machine supergroup.
I love that idea.
Speaking of Sonic Landscapes, let's circle back to something from that Waves audio article that really stood out to me.
Yeah.
They talk about arranging being the unsung hero
It
of
is.
music production, and I think they're right.
I think so too. It's so often overlooked, but it's that crucial bridge between the songwriting and the final mix.
Yeah.
A great song can totally fall flat if the arrangement isn't serving the emotional arc of the music.
Because it's not just about throwing in more instruments or layers.
Right.
It's about making these like conscious choices
Yeah.
that support the overall story that the song is telling.
Exactly. A skilled arranger knows when to create space, when to build tension, when to pull back, and let the vocals shine.
Okay.
Think of it like building a house. You need a solid structure and a thoughtful design, not just a pile of bricks.
I like that.
Yeah.
They give this great example in the article. Imagine a song where all the instruments are playing at full volume
Oh my God.
from start to finish.
It would be exhausting.
It would be.
You wouldn't be able to connect with the nuances of the melody or the lyrics.
That's so true. A good arrangement guides the listener through the emotional journey of the song,
It does.
using dynamics and texture and space
Absolutely.
to create a truly immersive experience.
Even subtle shifts can make a world of difference.
Yeah.
A well-placed counter melody, a change in instrumentation, or even just slightly adjusting the volume of certain instruments can dramatically alter the feel of a section.
It's like adding those finishing touches to a painting
Yeah.
that make it really pop. You're not drastically changing the image, but you're highlighting certain details and creating a sense of depth and dimension.
And just like with painting, there are endless ways to approach arranging. Some arrangers prefer to keep things minimal, while others love to layer sounds and create really dense, intricate textures.
Okay.
It's all about finding what serves the song best.
So for someone who's just starting out
Yeah.
with arranging, what advice would you give them?
Well, I think the best way to learn is by listening.
Okay.
Pay attention to your favorite songs and try to kind of deconstruct the arrangement in your head. What instruments are being used? How do the dynamics change throughout the song? What techniques are being used to create tension and release?
That's great advice. It's like learning to cook by tasting different dishes and trying to figure out like
Yeah.
what ingredients,
Exactly.
techniques the chef used.
And don't be afraid to experiment. Try different instruments, play with different sounds, see what happens when you break the rules. The more you experiment, the more you'll develop your own unique style and voice as an arranger.
And this idea, experimentation, ties into the bigger picture of how technology is transforming the music production landscape.
Absolutely.
I mean, it feels like there's a new plugin or app or AI tool coming out every day.
It does. Technology has always been a driving force in music production, but the pace of innovation these days is mind-blowing.
It's a lot.
We're seeing a convergence of music production and software development that's opening up a whole new world of possibilities.
It's both exciting and a little daunting, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's never been easier to create and share music, but it's also harder to stand out from the crowd.
That's true with so much music out there. It's more important than ever to find your unique voice and create something truly special.
Yeah.
But technology can also be such a powerful tool for pushing creative boundaries and exploring uncharted sonic territory.
So how do we navigate this rapidly evolving landscape?
Yeah.
How do we embrace the possibilities of technology without losing sight of what makes music truly meaningful?
I think it's about finding a balance between the human and the technological, using technology to enhance our creativity, not replace it.
Yeah.
It's about remembering that music is ultimately about human connection.
Mm-hmm.
It's about expressing ourselves, sharing our stories, and connecting with others on a soul level.
Yeah.
And technology can be a powerful tool for amplifying that connection, for making our music more impactful and reaching a wider audience. But it's the human element, the emotion, the vulnerability, the authenticity that will always be at the heart of great music.
Beautifully said. Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this part of our deep dive.
We have.
From the philosophical implications of AI music to the practicalities of arranging and the evolving role of technology.
A whole gamut.
I'm feeling inspired to go fire up my DAW and start experimenting.
That's the spirit. There's a whole universe of sonic possibilities out there waiting to be explored.
Yeah.
And who knows what incredible new sounds we'll be creating in the years to come.
We'll be back soon for the final part of our music production odyssey. Until then, keep those creative juices flowing. Welcome back to the final part of our music production deep dive. It's crazy. After all this talk about AI and arranging and all this, I'm realizing how much there is to learn about making music.
I know, it really is.
It's a lifelong journey.
It is a lifelong journey of discovery.
It is.
And you know what's so cool about it?
Yeah.
Is that you don't have to be a professional musician or producer
Right.
to appreciate it.
Exactly.
Like, even if you never touch a DAW or a mixing board in your life, just understanding how music is made can make you like a more active and engaged listener.
100%. You start to hear things that you might have missed before.
Yeah.
You know, the subtle shifts in dynamics, the clever use of panning, the way different instruments interact with each other.
Right.
It's like being able to appreciate a painting on a whole new level once you understand the techniques the artist used. Okay, so before we wrap things up, let's recap some of the key takeaways from our, sonic adventure.
Okay.
What are some of the biggest things that stood out to you about music production?
I think one thing that really struck me is just the importance of mastering the fundamentals.
Okay.
Even with all the incredible technology we have today, the core principles of music theory and songwriting and sound engineering still apply.
It's like learning to build a house.
Yes?
You might be able to use, fancy power tools,
Right.
but you still need to understand the basic principles of construction.
Exactly. You need a solid foundation before you can start experimenting with the more advanced stuff
Yeah.
Understanding how chords work, how to create a catchy melody, how to capture a clean recording. These are the building blocks of great music.
And speaking of building blocks,
Yeah.
we talked a lot about the 6 stages of
Yeah.
music production,
Yep.
from songwriting to mastering.
Yes.
Each step plays such a crucial role
It does.
in shaping the final product.
It's like a relay race where each runner passes the baton to the next.
Yeah.
Songwriting sets the stage. Arranging brings the vision to life. Tracking captures the performance, editing refines that raw material, mixing blends everything together, and mastering puts the finishing touches on that sonic masterpiece.
And while technology has revolutionized every stage of the process, The human element is still at the heart of it all.
100%.
Mm.
The passion, the creativity, the emotion, these are the things that make music truly resonate with listeners.
Okay.
Technology can enhance those elements,
Yeah.
but it can never replace them.
So what advice would you give to someone who's just starting out on their music production journey?
Well, I think the most important thing is to not be afraid to experiment.
Okay.
You know, try everything.
Yeah.
Break the rules. Find your own voice. There's no one right way to make music. So explore different genres, play with different instruments, see what sounds you can create.
I love that it's like a playground
It
for
is.
your ears. And the more you experiment, the more you'll discover what works for you
Exactly.
and develop your own unique style.
And remember, to have fun music production can be challenging at times,
No.
but it's also incredibly rewarding.
It is.
The moment you create something that truly moves you, that captures that feeling you were trying to express,
Yeah.
it's pure magic.
And that magic is what makes music such a powerful force in the world. It connects us, it inspires us, it helps us make sense of our own experiences.
Absolutely. It's a universal language that transcends borders and cultures.
Mm-hmm.
And whether you're an Indian producer or an aspiring musician or simply a passionate listener, I think there's something truly special about understanding the art and the craft of creating music.
Well said. It's been an incredible journey exploring the world of music production with you. And for everyone listening, I hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity and inspired you to keep listening, keep creating, and keep exploring the endless possibilities of sound.